Welcome to US Briefing. The content of the briefing includes presenting the most popular, named, speaker in recent history. Kansas court system down nearly 2 weeks in security incident that has hallmarks of ransomware. Escaped Virginia inmate who fled from hospital is recaptured, officials say. Representative Jamal Bowman charged with pulling fire alarm in House building. Vermont police find 2 bodies off rural road as they investigate disappearance of 2 Massachusetts men. Presenting the most popular, named, speaker in recent history. Washington Post. The new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Republican Louisiana, shares his name with over 18,600 U.S. registered voters, according to political data firm L2. The combination of Mike and Johnson is particularly common in the U.S., with Michael being the most popular boy's name in 1972. The surname Johnson was the second most common in the U.S. in 2010, according to the Census Bureau. Kansas court system down nearly 2 weeks in security incident that has hallmarks of ransomware. Associated Press. Kansas officials are calling a massive computer outage that's kept most of the state's courts offline for 2 weeks a security incident and, while they have provided no explanation, experts say it has all the hallmarks of a ransomware attack. Escaped Virginia inmate who fled from hospital is recaptured, officials say. Associated Press. An inmate who escaped from the Virginia Department of Corrections custody at a suburban Richmond hospital in August was captured Wednesday morning at a Northern Virginia hotel, authorities said. Nassim Rolak, 21, was brought into custody by the U.S. Marshals Service and Fairfax County Police Department, the Corrections Department said in a brief news release. When arresting officers knocked on the door of a hotel room in Springfield, Rolak attempted to flee by jumping from a third-floor window with an assault rifle, injuring his arm and dropping the gun, according to a news release from the Marshal Service. Representative Jamal Bowman charged with pulling fire alarm in House building. Yahoo! Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman of New York is facing a misdemeanor charge for falsely pulling a fire alarm in a House building last month. Bowman will be arraigned on Thursday after being charged on Wednesday with 1 count of falsely pulling a fire alarm. The charge concludes a 3-week investigation by the U.S. Capitol Police into the incident, which occurred on September 30 and led to an evacuation. Republicans accused Bowman of attempting to stall proceedings for a GOP proposal to keep the government open. Bowman said in a statement that he was rushing to make a vote and mistakenly pulled the alarm, thinking it would unlock a door he wanted to pass through. Vermont police find 2 bodies off rural road as they investigate disappearance of 2 Massachusetts men. Associated Press. Vermont State Police have found 2 bodies in a wooded area in Eden as they investigate the disappearance of 2 men from Massachusetts. The victims have not yet been identified and police have not made any arrests. The men had gone missing in suspicious circumstances after traveling through several communities. Police have a number of suspects and people of interest in mind. Ex-NFL star Sergio Brown charged with his mother's murder. Yahoo! Former NFL player Sergio Brown has been charged with first-degree murder and concealment of a dead body for the death of his mother, Myrtle Brown. Sergio Brown was considered a missing person until he was apprehended by the police, who said he was awaiting extradition to Maywood, Illinois, where his mother's body was discovered. The charges came after a neighbor provided police with Ring doorbell footage of the former football player burning his mother's clothes. In a series of bizarre videos posted on an account seemingly linked to him, Sergio Brown claimed his mother's death was fake news and made references to the film Finding Nemo. MapLab, uncovering the native landscape of Los Angeles. Bloomberg. A project by the Spatial Sciences Institute at the University of Southern California has presented a comprehensive view of Los Angeles's native ecology and how the indigenous people interacted with it. The project, called Mapping Los Angeles, provides interactive maps, audio, images and writing to help users explore the history of the region's landscape. The aim of the project is to support ecological restoration and sustainability efforts and to bring Los Angeles into greater balance with the environment. The project also provides maps of historical tree, plant and bird distributions. New organic rules announced by USDA tighten restrictions on livestock and poultry producers. Associated Press. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, has announced new standards for organic labeling. The Organic Livestock and Poultry Standards impose specific requirements on livestock and poultry producers wishing to label their products as organic. The standards were developed in consultation with farming organizations, organics groups, and producers. The Organic Trade Association, which lobbied for the new rules, said that they will ensure consistency and fairness in organic production. Producers have 1 year in which to comply with the standards, with poultry operations given an additional 4 years to comply with regulations governing space requirements for egg layers and density requirements for meat chickens. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the sixth dimension, here to bring you the latest news from across the multiverse. Today, we have quite an interesting mix of stories to dive into, so let's get started. First up, we have the curious case of the most popularly named speaker in recent history. It seems that Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, shares his name with over 18,600 U.S. registered voters. Now, I don't know about you, but I can only imagine the confusion that must arise from having so many people with the same name. It's like a never-ending game of which Mike Johnson are we talking about? But hey, at least he's in good company, considering that Mike and Johnson are both incredibly common names in the U.S. It's a wonder anyone can keep track of who's who. Moving on, we have a security incident in the Kansas court system that has left the state's courts offline for nearly 2 weeks. While officials haven't provided an explanation, experts believe it's a ransomware attack. Now, I have to say, if there's one thing hackers love, it's causing chaos in the most unexpected places. Who would have thought that even the court system could be a target? It just goes to show that in this digital age, no one is safe from the clutches of cyber criminals. In other news, an escaped inmate from Virginia has finally been recaptured after fleeing from a hospital. But here's the twist: when the arresting officers knocked on the door of the hotel room where he was hiding, the inmate attempted to flee by jumping from a third-floor window with an assault rifle. Talk about going out with a bang. Thankfully, he only ended up injuring his arm and dropping the weapon. It seems like this guy watched one too many action movies and thought he could pull off a daring escape. Well, let's just say it didn't quite work out as planned. Next, we have an interesting story involving a fire alarm and a U.S. representative. Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman of New York is facing a misdemeanor charge for falsely pulling a fire alarm in a House building. Now, I have to say, this is one creative way to disrupt proceedings. Who needs filibustering when you can just set off a fire alarm, right? But hey, give the guy some credit. He claimed that he was rushing to make a vote and mistakenly pulled the alarm, thinking it would unlock a door he wanted to pass through. It's like a scene straight out of a sitcom. Moving on, we have a rather grim discovery in Vermont. The state police have found 2 bodies as they investigate the disappearance of 2 men from Massachusetts. Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it seems like foul play might be involved here. The police have a number of suspects and people of interest in mind, so hopefully, they'll be able to bring some closure to this case. It's a reminder that even in the most peaceful and picturesque places, darkness can lurk just beneath the surface. In a shocking turn of events, a former NFL player has been charged with first-degree murder and concealment of a dead body for the death of his own mother. Now, I have to say, this is not the kind of touchdown you want to be making in life. It's a tragic and disturbing case, made even more bizarre by the fact that the former player claimed his mother's death was fake news in a series of strange videos. It's like something out of a twisted movie plot, and I'm sure the truth behind this tragic event will unfold in due time. Finally, let's take a break from the darkness and explore the native landscape of Los Angeles. Thanks to a project by the Spatial Sciences Institute at the University of Southern California, we now have a comprehensive view of the city's native ecology and how indigenous people interacted with it. The project, called Mapping Los Angeles, provides interactive maps, audio, images, and writing to help users explore the history of the region's landscape. It's a fascinating endeavor that not only sheds light on the past but also aims to support ecological restoration and sustainability efforts. Kudos to the team behind this project for bringing Los Angeles into greater balance with the environment. Well, folks, that wraps up today's news from the multiverse. I hope you enjoyed this eclectic mix of stories, from the curious case of the popularly named speaker to the dark and mysterious events that unfolded. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any burning questions or wild theories? Share them with me, Dr. Six, and let's dive into the discussion together. Remember, in the sixth dimension, there's always more than meets the eye. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.